Good morning, students. I'm here with the first chapter in biology, the living world, for class 11th. So, in this living world, we will discuss about the life forms, the tremendous number of life forms, and their rules for their classification, nomenclature, identification. And for that, we will start this chapter with two terms. The first term is biodiversity and the second term is taxonomy. Right now we are studying about the living world. The tremendous forms of life are here. Some fly in the sky, some runs very fast on the ground, some are creeping habits, some lives in burrowings, some lives in water, some lives on land, some lives in ocean. Even in ocean, some survive on the surface, some in the middle zone, some is littoral, some are benthic. So there are tremendous form of life on earth. If we will discuss about only plant, there are several divisions of plant. There are plant which does not have body organization. They come under the division Thallophyta. They are plants in which roots, shoots, and leaves are not truly developed. They are termed as bryophytes. They are plants in which first time the transportation system developed. They are known as pteridophytes. They are plants which are seed plant which in which the seed nature evolved for the first time are known as gymnosperm. And the plant which reproduces sexually by a special structure known as flower are known as flowering plant. You will be amazed to know that there are more than 3 lakh species of flowering plant documented by Royal Botanical Garden at Kew in United Kingdom. So the tremendous form of life on earth which have different shapes, sizes, color, habitat, biological processes, appearances, they all constitute biodiversity on earth. So in scientific community, the term biological diversity was first introduced by Thomas J. Walter. Thomas J. Walter used the term biological diversity. Later on, it was abbreviated as biodiversity for the first time in scientific journal by W. G. Rosen. Then again, the person who popularized this term biodiversity and studied biodiversity on three levels, on the level of genes, on the level of species, and on the level of ecology, was the great biodiversity scientist Edward Wilson. So, whenever the term biodiversity will come in your mind, these three figures definitely strike upon your brain and will make you remember their contribution in the development of this term in scientific community. Again, we come on the definition of biodiversity. What is biodiversity? The tremendous form of life. Tremendous forms of life. having different or diverse habit, habitat, niches, lifestyle, behavior, and behavior, shape, size, and color constitute biodiversity on Earth. So, this is the definition of biodiversity. Once again, I just read what is it so that you could get it clearly on the board. Tremendous forms of life having different or diverse habitat, niches, lifestyle, behavior, shape, size, and color constitute biodiversity on Earth. Now we discuss the magnitude of biodiversity on Earth. Magnitude of biodiversity. So according to Garud Purana, it is one of the Purana in Hindu mythology. So if we will consider it as the part of Indian classical taxonomy, then it says that there are, according to Garuda Purana, there are 8.4 million life forms on Earth. Even in present time, the scientific estimation says that one scientific estimation says that there are 8.7 million life forms. Another scientific estimation says that there are 10 to 12 million life forms on Earth. So it is quite amazing that 2 to 3,000 years before, how Garuda Purana estimates so close figure. Anyway, so whatever this magnitude is, there are several processes of estimation. The processes may be different, and due to that different processes there are fluctuation in the magnitude. So if we consider it around 10 million, then we have only documented 2 million, less than 2 million life form on Earth. So there is quite scope, there is big large opportunity in the field of taxonomy. We will come on that later. So there are 80% of life form yet to be discovered, and according to a data, every day the scientific community confront more than 10,000 new life forms, but the speed of extinction is also very fast. That is why it becomes difficult to get the exact number of life form from the beginning of the evolution till date now. Right now, one scientific estimation says that we have a very large number of life form which got extinct from the earth, and it is uh, the present life form is just 2 to 3% of that number. So this was biodiversity. Now I focus upon the importance of biodiversity. What is the importance of biodiversity in our day-to-day life? We will show you by some example how biodiversity is important for us. We discuss it in classes regularly, whether that is the topic of biodiversity or not. I ask regularly students from where our food comes from. Our food comes from the importance number one, food. Our food comes from either plant source or animal source. Even in our food, how our curd is prepared. Curd by the use of microorganisms. How our beverages are prepared by the process of fermentation. How do we prepare idli, dosa and the puwa which we eat in Holi? So in all these things, microorganisms plays important role. So this plant, this animal, these microorganisms are the part of biodiversity. So biodiversity is the source of our food. Second thing, from where our clothes come from cotton, from jute. So our clothes also comes from, the source of our clothes is biodiversity. The third thing is our medicine, houses, furnitures, house furniture, we can use the term house furnitures, doors, board on which we are studying right now, the living world. So this, the source of this house furniture, household materials are also biodiversity. From where does our medicine comes from? Our medicine also comes from plant, animal. From plant we extract drugs. From microorganisms we get antibiotics. So biodiversity is the source of our medicine also. So our medicine comes from biodiversity. And one more important thing, the ecological services which we get in free, the raindrops in precipitation, the soil, conservation of soil, the purification of water, in all these ecological services, biodiversity plays important role. Ecological services. So you can see the significance of biodiversity in our life. Only human population cannot maintain this living world. Human has to live in peace with nature, with entire biodiversity. So biodiversity is very important for us. And if it is important, then we know that there are several dangers to the biodiversity. And that dangers are habitat fragmentation, pollution, invasive alien species. There are so many. We haven't to study the reason behind that right now. We have to link biodiversity with taxonomy here in this class. So our one purpose is very clear. Biodiversity is important or not? It is important. Then how will we conserve it? If I will give you a task that you have to protect a person, then what will you do? What will be your next task? What will be your role? You will inquire about that person. Who is that person? Where will I find that person? then you will know about his routine. You will guard him, protect him, the places where he will go. In the same way, if you have to protect the biodiversity, you will have to know about them. You will have to identify them. You will have to classify them, because this biodiversity is very huge number of life forms, a tremendous form of life. So you cannot keep it on your finger. That for that you will have to classify them, and you will have to give them a name, particular name, to all life forms which you will document. So if you have to conserve biodiversity, you will have to identify the life form, you will have to classify the life form, and you will have to provide them a name. And the branch of biology which deals with these three entities, three tasks, is known as taxonomy. I just write it. So taxonomy is a Greek word. Taxa means to arrange. Taxa means to arrange. And nomi means knowledge or science or the method to arrange. So the science of arrangement of life form is taxonomy. For the first time, this term was used by D. Candolle in 1813. But in the development of taxonomy as a science, as a branch of biological science, Carolus Linnaeus has made a remarkable job by designing the taxonomical hierarchy, and a lot of job in classification of plant, algae, fungi, even animals. Carolus Linnaeus is regarded as father of taxonomy. So we will discuss and study taxonomy in the next class in detail, but my purpose and the moot point of this class was the relation of biodiversity and the living world with the taxonomy. Is that if we have to conserve biodiversity, we will have to study taxonomy. Taxonomy is a science as well as a tool. It is the oldest profession of the world. The day man started gathering the fruit and identifying it and getting information that in which season or in which period of the year it appears on the plant, the taxonomy begins. So taxonomy is the oldest profession of the world, and we will study it in the next class. what is the method of identification, what is the method of classification, and what is the method of nomenclature. How this science has developed from before the Christ till the date now. So this topic, biodiversity and taxonomy, is clear to all of you now, I'm quite sure. So wait for the next class and try to understand the relationship between biodiversity and taxonomy. And if you have any doubt, please write me on my WhatsApp number 7766824498. Till then, thank you. Stay at home.